Hello and welcome to channel JTP. During this podcast today, we will be reliving a legend of society, Marco Polo. My inquiry question is, how did Marco Polo impact the world? I hope that after this episode, you will be able to know about Marco Polo and how he impacted our era. Firstly, who is Marco Polo? Marco Polo was born in 1254 in Venice, Italy. During Marco's early life, his family and him tended to travel a lot. From 1271 to 1295, he travelled to China and stayed there for the first 17 years of his life. In 1292, he left China to go back to Europe. Marco Polo was a merchant and explorer. Marco was brought up in a very rich environment, and his heritage was filled with explorers and merchants. This made it easier for Marco to make it in the industry. Although Marco spent most of his childhood parentless, as his mother died at a young age, and his father ran a successful jewelry store in Asia, so it made it difficult to see Marco. Therefore, Marco spent his young years at his grandparents'. After childhood, Marco spent the rest of his life as a merchant and explorer. Although Marco Polo is a very famous name, what did Marco Polo actually do? Marco Polo was one of the first pioneers in Europe to travel Asia. Marco Polo travelled further than any other human in the Middle Ages, and his trip to Asia took 24 years. During Marco's time in Asia, he discovered many things and introduced many things to the world and the era at the time. In Marco's book, The Travels of Marco, he described that in Asia, that he discovered many new technologies such as paper money, the use of coal, and many more things that Marco didn't claim to have discovered due to the fact that he didn't think they would make an impact in the Middle Age period. Marco Polo discovered things like gunpowder and a lot of mining resources. Marco Polo was also a merchant. His father and uncle owned a jewelry store. His uncle and his father travelled to China with Marco and sold jewelry in Asia. During Marco's time in Asia, he also influenced King Kuban. This was one of the major things Marco did in his time in Asia. Marco also helped the king understand more about Christianity and everyday life in Asia. During Marco's time in Asia, he also played a heavy influence to the other pioneers and merchants, including Christopher Columbus, as Marco Polo described in his book that Christopher was an avid admirer and strongly believed in everything Marco did. Where did Marco Polo travel? Marco Polo travelled to many different places in the world and discovered many different things. But where did Marco Polo actually travel in the Middle East and Asia? He went to countries like Japan, India, Sri Lanka, the Southeast, and the east coast of Africa. Book 4 of Marco Polo describes that some of the recent wars among the Mongols and some of the regions like Russia he explored. Why is Marco Polo still remembered now? Marco Polo has done many different things to better our lives today. Marco brought back many different resources to his country. Marco was also the first merchant to travel Asia. One of the main resources Marco Polo is still remembered for now is paper money. Marco is also well known because of his influence on Christopher Columbus. And in his travel books, it says that Christopher Columbus believed in everything that he did. One of Marco Polo's best inventions while in Asia was paper money. This was a major thing and still is in some countries now. Now, we will be having a quiz on Marco's life. You have to answer 3 questions. If you get them right, you win a prize. And it's not going to be said to the end. Okay. So if you want to call, you have to call 0401 111 111. That's 0401 111 111. Okay, we have a first caller. It's Marianne. Say hi, Marianne. Hi. Okay, if you get one question correct, you'll hear this sound. And if you get a question wrong, you'll hear this sound. You have to get 3 questions to win. Alright? Okay, let's go. Who was someone that Marco Polo influenced? I think Christopher Columbus? Oh, you got it correct. Okay, your next question is, what is one of the things that Marco Polo discovered? I think it's paper money. Oh, you got it correct. One more and you win a prize. Okay. Where is one of the countries that Marco Polo travelled to? I think Japan, if that's correct. Let's have a look for the prize. Oh, you're right. And you win a prize. The prize is a new car. What do you think about that, Marianne? I think it's great. It's going to change my life forever. Okay, make sure you tune in next week because we'll be talking about Christopher Columbus and his journey. Alright, good night.